Sorry for a wait, work a bit mental, but let's pick up where we left off. This is me and Tony going to Ireland day 4, starting with a lovely breakfast. And then we hit the road.
Oh, I could take him anywhere, but I have to go back to apologise.
It is true, I do have to go back to apologise.
Your light is not ready.
Is your indication on?
No, not really, Dad.
Okay. You want to say? Yeah. That's it here. Turn right. Thank you. Right turn, Clyde. Come up this way, please. That's this blue one, you ready?
The waiter, he wasn't ready.
You obviously rush hour. So previously they were all coming our way, and now right, yeah. That was a convoluted setup, the bonus station.
So, if you remember last time, we travelled down the Wild Atlantic Way, we'd wound up at Bandon, down at the bottom of Ireland, and today, well, I was meeting an old friend at Greystones, so we were heading up there. But in order to get there, we had to go all the way around the bottom, and then through, I think, is it Waterford, and back up the other side, and that means just one thing, and that's lots and lots of big roads. So we weren't going to do lots of the coastal stuff, which, yeah, I don't mind going on the motorway. It's a means to an end, but it's not really my favourite thing because it's kind of loud and noisy. And as we're trying to work his way out here, and I do love a good tour. Well, you know, stuff's getting past us because we're taking this time. One of the things me and Tony decided to do was to avoid the motorway because we were told there's like tolls and stuff. What we didn't know is that the tolls aren't that bad, and I'm not even sure if bikes aren't free as well. So we kind of gone a long way around when we could have probably hopped on the motorway and gone the motorway route, but that's not what we chose to do. So it went even longer and a little bit slower. But still, the back roads in Ireland, I mean, these are the M roads, sort of A roads you would have got in the UK. Look at these, nice big wide roads, clearly signposted. We did get to go along the coastline. It's my favourite thing to have the water off to one side. So, you know, I take advantage of this by any time I see a spot of water, be it a lake or a coastline or the sea, then I get the camera out and I go, here we go. But look, weather today, not so great. We were lucky as we were going over the Healy Pass and stuff like that, where it was a lot more sunshine. A little bit cloudy today, a little bit cold, a bit of rain. I think on my fly screen here, the windscreen, sorry, that's mostly dead bugs and a little bit of rain. Future notice, I will try and remember to clean the windscreen in between videos because obviously it's still a bit grimy. But look at this, we're cutting around the bottom here. We're not quite got down to Waterford at this point. This is kind of the south coast. You can see the sea off to one side and the mountains in the distance. Once again, Ireland delivered when it comes to scenery, and roads and people and food. You just can't go wrong. Absolutely glorious all the way.
Oh, it's just a bunch of like, oh, this is a nice spot. Do you want to come and sit here and have a pint outside? Yeah, I say it's like got a bit of a Europe, well, it is in Europe, but it's got that kind of like a French and Italian kind of thing. Street food market, you know.
do need to check where this was actually, because there's like it looks like there's a really good kind of set of cycle paths down the side of the coastline. Lots of places renting bikes. One of the things we found out about, there's really lots of good bike paths separated from traffic. As we get to the end, as we go to Dublin, there's some really good cycle paths to kind of cut down the coastline. But yeah, such a lovely little place with light views. Anyway, so we've cut through little towns, and yes, I remembered that island was in Europe. Well done me. And again, now we're starting to head across bottom. We're starting to reach those mountains we could see in the distance. And again, look, nice and flying, not too much traffic. You know, in towns you hit a little bit, not least because the traffic lights take about 15 hours to change. But once you're on the roads again, it's glorious. If you're used to the UK, you sit in a lot more traffic than you do in Ireland, let me tell you. And here we go, look, me and Tony, we're on the M road still here. This is not motorway, dual carriageway. You couldn't see a car going in our direction. We had the road to ourselves, and away we went. Deceptively hilly, this bit of Ireland as well. So definitely somewhere to come and enjoy and open the bike up a little bit. Obviously within the speed limit, safely driving, carefully, definitely. And this is, I think we cut into Waterford again to try and avoid the motorway tolls, which just added a crap lot of traffic and slowing down. But we did get to go over a bridge, and you know I like a nice bridge. Here's a bridge which lifts up to let things in and out by the looks of it. Or it either lifts up to where it turns, but it's definitely barriers, so it must do something. And this is on the way out. We've been sat in traffic on the way in, and it just slowed us right down. I think it probably added about half an hour to the journey. So again, my advice, if you go in and you've got to get somewhere quick, go on the motorway. It's not that expensive, and it's probably a damn sight easier than getting stuck in city traffic. And then we did get on the motorway because we'd gone, do you know what, knackers to this, it was taking forever, let's go on the motorway, and we went across this amazing bridge as we were heading up towards Greystones. Look at this, it looks like it's sweeping over, doesn't it? And again, look, traffic-wise, not that bad, pretty decent where we go. We still find time to get off the beaten track. You know, we went and had I wanted to head towards now the east coast as I'm thinking about it, because we wanted to cut across and get to Greystones, go and see Matt. And again, lovely country roads, not lots of traffic, just a good chance to have a ride. We're taking advantage of it, definitely. And again, a little bit of like M-road action. We're on the motorway here. I mean, that is the motorway junction there by the looks of it. But we're still making pace and we're going good. It turned a bit cold at this point actually, so we were getting a bit fresh. Me and Tony both decided to slow down to keep warm. How mad is that? Now this is us now coming into Greystones, I think. To warm up a bit. The sun will come back out in its favour. Oh yeah, that's me being kicked in the bum by the rather stiff suspension on the Super Meteor. If there's one thing I'd change about this bike, it would be the stiffness of that suspension. Funnily enough, being out today, got talking to a guy, and he's recommended some YSS rear shocks, so that might be the answer. So this is actually coming into Waterford. We were trying to work out how to get to the coast because Matt was meeting us down by the beach. Should have probably turned right under the railway lines there, because that would probably be going, because as you can probably guess where the railway lines are, you can't just drive across the railway lines, you've got to find somewhere to go over them or under them. So go find the cafe, because Matt's recommended us somewhere to go and have a nice cold cup of coffee. So this guy pulls out, look at this, right, red, then he just drives through. Okay. I don't think he was paying attention. Thank for the pedestrians were. But nice little town, Greystones. That's worth a visit. A good selection of pubs and certain bits we saw like we liked. Again, more than one place to choose to go and have a coffee. So if you like coffee, you're really not going to be as a sort here. There's plenty of choice. So we stopped and looked at the beach. Tony went to look at the boats while I had a coffee with Matt, who's my friend from a long time ago when he used to work at Sumo with me. And then because we'd been round the place where Matt coffee half a dozen times, I actually knew the way out. So he's like, the sat nav thinks it's that way, but it's not. It's actually this way. Let's sneak up the sneaky back road. So what Matt had suggested for us is, rather than get back on the motorway, because both me and Tony suggested that we weren't keen on motorway, to kind of go around the coastline, because just south of Dublin is where a lot of people who've got lots of cash live on the coastline with gigantic mansions overlooking the sea. I think it's Dalby or Dalkey, something like that. So he kind of popped us in the right direction, and me and Tony gladly look forward to running up the coastline and not up the motorway, because we'd had enough motorway for one day. And you know what? It was absolutely right. I mean, look at this. So there's little, I think it's a one-way road in this, and it just runs around. There's all these blooming great big mansions overlooking the sea. You know, these poor people who have to put up wearing walls around the houses, and that sea view must be awful. And just what a lovely ride. And at this point, the sun had kind of come round to the side. So it's sort of late afternoon at this point. Just a lovely little ride. Just enjoying this view, enjoying the sun, enjoying the complete lack of traffic, and just looking at some houses and going, you know, wouldn't it be nice if I won the lottery one day I could live somewhere like this? This would be all right, wouldn't it? Double car garages, plenty of room for motorbikes. It'd be alright, wouldn't it? But no, brilliant. Just really enjoyed it. So, you know, come down here, lots of nice palm trees at the side. It's almost like a French Riviera. But in Ireland. Look, you just come around the corner, and then you know you're going to see it in a second. You've got the sea on one side and you've got the road on the other. No, occasionally you've got to like watch out for it going back into two lanes, because it does. Everyone walking the dogs and riding the bikes. What more do you want? Envis would have liked this, but Envis didn't get to come. There you go. This is what you live for, isn't it? Nice seaside and there, good parking, and cars on your side of the road. I should imagine there's a nice beach down there. Look at all those people parking up and having a wander down. And I can't remember what I was babbling to Tony about on the radio, but it's one good thing actually. We've got those helmet intercoms now. I actually put to good use today. We've been out on a ride out with Manhattans into the Peak District, and me and Tony could communicate when it was safe to overtake and when it wasn't safe to overtake, and where we were going to, what we were going to do. And then after we've gone past all the mansions, this I think is the town where you kind of come in after that. This is not Dublin yet, but we're on his way towards Dublin, and you can see it's lovely, nice selection of shops, pubs and eateries. This is Dalkey, look, it's on the side of that building, I've just seen it. And like I said, as you come down here, very prosperous. Obviously it's a nice neighbourhood, I'm guessing. Probably rather affluent is what I'm guessing. If you took a deep breath you can smell the money. But yeah, so we're actually now starting to get towards Dublin. Now Dublin was his destination for the day. We wanted to stay there, and of course you can't really go to Ireland and not go to Dublin. We managed to avoid going to St James's Gate, the Guinness brewery, even though I said to Tony, come on, we're going into centre Dublin, we're going to have some Guinness. Now Tony, before he went to Ireland, was not a fan of Guinness. By the time Tony had come back from Ireland, very definitely a fan of Guinness. And in fact these days now we have to go and try and find somewhere in Sheffield we can have good Guinness. And I think it's either the Grapes is where I'll probably go, or Fagan's. both good Irish pubs. The Grape's much more Irish than Figgins. And look at this now, so we're now getting towards Dublin. There's marinas off to the side, the railway's running down the side, and it's just nice, modern, clean. Again, not really hitting traffic at this point, and bear in mind, we're coming into like Ireland's capital city. And this outside road, actually, I think was a bit of a find because it kind of just took me past stuff. But it seemed to be, for quite a bit of it, kind of one way, which was fascinating. I don't quite understand it. And I think part of that is because off to the side, and we'll see it in a bit, is a cycle lane. It must be the best way if you live or work in Dublin to get into town, to just kind of cycle in. Obviously there's people going past you with motorbikes. Or just stand in the backyard. Or the train you can see going down the right hand side here. But yeah, just fantastic transport links. There's a cycle lane on the right hand side as we're going in. And this is just before we got to the hotel again. Nice marinas, these nice looking flats and hotel type places on the left hand side. Sat nav really done us a favour, it like kind of took us a nice way. So yeah, so basically the plan was get settled for the night. When we got to the hotel, we discovered that it wasn't a room with 2 bedrooms, it was a room with 2 beds. So Tony had to put up with me snoring and I had to put up with him farting for the night. We don't often share the same room for those reasons. But we did get parked up, dropped the stuff off after quite a long motorbike. It's been about 300 blooming kilometres. Took us about 6 or 7 hours this particular day. And then we basically went into town, had a couple of pints, made the most of it. Because the following morning we had to be up early. I think we had to be up at like 6:30 to make sure we could get the ferry back. And we didn't want to go too mad. I think we must have had 3 pints, better something to eat, and that was it. But look, sunshine, going down, settling now. Irish Sea to us right, that's where the ferry's going home tomorrow. All we've got to do is get parked up, get ourselves into town, and then away we go. So that was it. This is our last day in Ireland before we travel back. Again, absolutely adored it. I'm actually thinking we should go back because we haven't. I'm trying to work out. We went to the Isle of Man this year, which I did capture loads of footage of. The problem was it was footage of Envis sat in front of me on the bike, and you can't see anything but the dog's head. It's not great footage. But here, Guinness, lovely old pub, more Guinness. And we'll close it down there. Got some footage of the last day as I was basically coming back through Wales. So see you next time, maybe in 6 months.